Okay, let's look at another pitch deck for Piccsy. Now, Piccsy is a much earlier stage company, but I think it's a good one because I want to show that if you're really creative, you can figure out a way to tell your story and leverage your skills and technology to put together a really interesting package. This is by no means necessary. I've seen, decks that were black and white with just some simple bullet points be very successful companies, based on some really good technology or ideas. But I think you should understand that, the scale of what can be done out there, and investors are getting used to seeing some more creative decks to help position it. Now, in this case, Piccsy did raise money, so I do know they raised money off the deck, but I don't really know how deep their success has gone from it. They have a welcome slide, and part of the welcome slide, they talk a little bit about their unique value proposition and kind of a reference component. They said, we're inspired by Google Images, Flipboard, and Pinterest. And what do? We embody all the redeeming qualities these products provide, plus so much more. Okay, so I'm guessing it's something about pictures and identifying content and saving it and curating it and be able to share it. It's pretty straightforward. The name obviously has some reference to it. But that's the start of it. It's gotten me intrigued and go, well, what is it? And I really want to know, what do they do different? So as a website for them, the next step you go is to problem. Now in their problem, they have a lot of details. If you're doing things on the website and you're not planning to actually present this, you have a little more flexibility. I imagine if they were having to walk into investors and pitch this, they may need to break it down a little bit more and simplify it. But the problem, image discovery is fragmented and distributed across a web of sources that become impossible to navigate. Well, for anyone who has done search for image discovery, particularly professionals, knows it's very true. You have all the private sites like Getty Images and iStockPhoto. You have blogs, you have obviously the Google searches, you have photo management, you have image hosting. So they showed the problem, but they also showed the ecosystem all in one shot, which is a nice way to tell the story because I get it. I'm like, wow, there's all these players. If I'm looking for an image, there's not one place I can go search all of these and find it. I'm going to have to go to individually find that image, which is a problem. So then you go to their solution slide. Very straightforward. Solution, they define, Piccsy solves the discovery fragmentation problem by identifying streams of interest that are important to users and customizing an image feed specifically catered to their preferences. A little bit of buzzwords there on the internet, but I think they could have said that a little simpler. But the idea is, you tell us what you're looking for, we'll scour the internet and create streams of photos based on what's getting posted socially, what's happening in different places. We'll search different websites, and you can then have a whole stream of photos and decide which ones you want to use or try to acquire. And the example here is they show this guy Daniel streams. Is he has some social streams that are about friends and family, and if you expand friends and family, you'll see he says Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you expand photographers, Flickr, 500 pixels, Instagram. These are all different sites that relate to that where you could be finding those photos. You have the inspiration stream he's put together where he's actually allowing Piccsy to select just popular images he wants to look at. But he's also come up with ones for graphic design, pulling from 3 different sites, design inspiration, Bubba House, It's Nice That, and then shopping, so menswear and prints. They have details, if you scroll to the right on this model, so it's a little more dynamic, it's not linear, one slide to another, of details about their value proposition, what they offer, the functionality of the site. It's nice because in the case like this where you're allowing someone to spend their own time to go through instead of a deck, you're essentially giving them a website, you can provide a little additional information if they choose to dig into, but you don't clog up the screen with all of it on one. You've extracted them to one other place. So going back, now we've seen that's what they say their solution is. You can go to the team, which would be the next piece of it. They've added a little animation where they have some of their avatars blinking. Avatar is some sort of illustration of a person or cartoon of it. They chose that instead of photos, and the name and what they do. And then you can hover over it and it will define their bio. Again, some of the advantages of technology in a written form this wouldn't work. But it's still a really, really entertaining website that myself as an investor, if I like the idea, I'm intrigued to play with it and learn more about the company. And it shows to me that they know how to do some really great user interface, user experience design. The next step is traction. The numbers they view as important of visitors per month and uniques per month, showing their traffic as they've grown from founding in July 2010 to April 2012. And then they also show another one, page views per month, if you continue to scroll. And then they go all the way down to some actually specific numbers. Number of visitors, number of unique visitors, number of page views per visits, and average time on site. All important metrics for online companies. And they've given a bunch of them. I imagine they have more than that, but these are the ones they chose to share with investors. The next slide, in their case, was the product. Again, they're covering all the same things we covered, in the structure we spoke about, the Guy Kawasaki structure. They've just put it in an innovative, creative way that they think tells their story. So the product. So they said, besides product updates, optimizations, and minor bugs, here are some of the things we're focused on. So they're basically outlining their milestones and their next steps, where they're heading with the product, which is a great way to combine it. That keeps the investor interested and tells me what I need to know. Is like, oh, I see where they're adding functionality. I see things that could possibly add value to the company. And then some of the deadlines they've set for themselves on that. And this is another slide again where you can scroll and tell you some of more details on the product, what the actual functionality is that they think provides uniqueness. And that's their deck. They end with a simple contact slide. Now, if you go back all the way up to the top, I just want to quickly show this to you. So we go up. They have this little tab that says Exec Summary. So if you click on that, it actually does take you to another page. It's not a downloadable summary. But this is kind of a more business-like, formal way to present their business. Just scroll easily through it is, what they do, what their traffic, who the core team is, who are their advisors, what the product does, market competition. Now they've, as you get the financials, they look a bit blurry. The reason is you probably don't want to put these numbers right on your website unless you've allowed someone to see it. And what they've done, at the time, is if you're authorized to look at it, they give you a password and a different web link to go to. They show what technology they use and a contact information. Again, all the same information, but for someone who doesn't want to click around and see all the slides, in essentially one page, I got all the information. We've reviewed different decks, all very different styles, different stages of companies, different levels of success. All of them accomplished the same thing, which was telling a great story about their business. All of them enabled them to get funded. And I hope these help you get some ideas of what you could do with your deck and where you can take it once you get the foundation down of the first 10 slides, and how you go telling about your story that really gives you a killer business plan.